Hi, Pirates. Welcome back to another episode of the Creator Capitalist podcast. We are so stoked today because we have Nick and Lydia joining us. Both of them are from the Category Design Academy. They've teamed up, they've done a lightning strike, they've done all sorts of things. Lydia was in our second cohort of the Academy, and Nick is in our current cohort. So we're here to hear about how they became creator capitalists, what their journey has been like, and all of that good stuff. Lydia, you want to give us the start of your story, how we got here? Joining the academy, all of that good stuff.
Okay, so I joined the academy in October of 2024. When I received the email, I knew that the universe was talking to me. I often analogize this journey to Odysseus looking for Ithaca. I think I had been on my own odyssey for some time. And when that email came, it was as if, there's this literary technique that the Greek tragedists use, deus machina, which is when the gods swoop in to sort of help the hero and save them. And I felt that that's what happened to me. I had been following the category pirates for so long, reading. Every time I read a newsletter, every time I read a book, I just felt that it was speaking to me. So I wanted to be part of the academy. I had applied. It was the first when I applied the first time, I actually wasn't the right time. So when I received the email, it definitely was, because I was ready. I was ready to immerse myself in the academy. And so what had happened, so I kind of take a
Hey,
step
Lydia,
back.
can you go a little more into like why wasn't it the right time? Like I think that's helpful because I think that's really powerful. What you're saying is that I think we're all very excited and confident about what the academy does, but timing is everything with that. So
It really
say more
is.
about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have to take a little bit of a step back because, when I reflect on my career, I've been in legal tech. So I'm a lawyer by profession. But soon when I went to law school, my dream was actually to become a maritime lawyer. I loved the law of the seas. I thought that it was so unique. What to be
You mean
able
like
to,
pirate law? Is that what you mean?
well, actually to defend captains and their shipping companies. But I do think it's interesting to have this journey because I know I was meant to be here, but I was very, I was really immersed in this. And I was working for solo practitioners that were practicing longshore and harbor workers' compensation law. I saw just the role that they had. They were the CFO, the CMO, they played every single role. But I discovered something that was extraordinary, which was legal technology. And when I discovered it, I thought it was the most amazing thing. This was at a time when no one was really using legal tech. And I soon decided that I would start learning everything about it. And I really believe that at that time, I saw the power of what was to happen, especially now in this age of AI, what was extraordinary. I went to work after law school. I found myself in a huge warehouse reading thousands of contracts. And I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. And I thought, is this going to be my life? And it was so interesting because right at that time, my former employer, when I was in law school, contacted me and said, there's an opening to work with law firms in San Francisco, really driving adoption of legal technology. And I thought, again, the universe is speaking to me. It was a big risk. Everyone in my family said, what are you going to do? You're not going to go practice law. And I decided that I wanted to make this my mission to transform how lawyers work. And that set off, I would say, a career that has spanned 26 years now of working with lawyers on law firms and government organizations and in-house counsel and how to use technology to transform how you work. I think so much of category design unlock new value. And I'm very lucky because at the time I did not realize that I've had the opportunity to work for every single category defining company in the legal tech space,
Wow.
starting with Thomson Reuters, 76% market share. I was so lucky to lead marketing for the flagship product, the next generation of legal research. I worked with an incredible team. At that time, we embedded in AI, machine learning, NLP, things that people really didn't talk about, but I was learning about them and the power of data. And then decided to go work at, I got the startup bug. I went to work at a company called Lex Machina, where we invented legal analytics for the law. nothing that had ever been done, an entirely new team just doing incredible things. And we were quickly acquired by LexisNexis. And to this day, they are the category king of legal analytics. I think the team did incredible work when I look back at how we brought that to, how we created the market. I'll say we created market. And then since then, I've really been involved in legal technology, leading go to market. I'll say create the market, sales, customer success, and marketing. In 20, I worked for a financial and practice management company where we acquired 3 companies while I was there. It was incredible. We rebranded the company, just did great work. But I found myself kind of asking myself, what's next? And what do I need to do? I felt that, especially after the pandemic, you're building and scaling, building and scaling. You're in the sort of the grind of it. And especially as a leader and as a woman leader, I thought there's more that I need to be doing. And so while
Mm.
I've always been an advocate of women in leadership, sponsorship, all of that, I felt that it was time to think about something different. So I stepped away for a bit to really reflect on that journey. And that's when the category pirates came into my life, when it was time for me to find and tap into that creative part of me, which I hadn't lost, I think.
So the
And
timing was really well in sync. You had decided without necessarily calling it that to become a creator capitalist. You found the category pirates, and then one thing led to another, and then you joined the academy. And there's
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had felt like I just felt that there was something else I needed to do. My family, everyone saw me delivering all this value for companies and people I worked with. And my husband would often say, why don't you create your own company? Why don't you build your own company? I'll never forget my daughter. One time we were at a volleyball tournament and I was doing some job searching. She's like, Mom, why don't you just be the CEO of your own company? I thought it was so amazing for her
wow.
to see that. And that was her lens. And so what happened was I was starting to think about, do I go out on my own? And that's exactly when the category pirates, when I got my email and I knew that it was time. I knew it was time.
One of my favorite writers of all time is the legendary Richard Bach. And one of my favorite books of all time is his book, Illusions. And the book is just sort of sprinkled with legendary quotes and ideas throughout the book. And one of them is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
I know. I was actually going to say that. We were thinking
Well,
it's
interrupt me.
so true though, but I feel you have to be ready. I mean, this is the Category Design Academy is not for everyone. I say that all the time. Is that you really have to want to immerse yourself in deep, deep thinking. I mean, when the Category Design Academy came into my life, I say it wasn't for me actually about, it was the category designing me, my life, who I wanted to be in this next chapter of my career because it had spanned different chapters. I had the big information legal technology company chapter, the startup, chapter, the super scaling chapter. This next chapter was, what am I going to be in this phase and do all the things that I had wanted to do, mentor, coach, build, immerse myself in ways that I had and be creative, write, learn. And the Category Design Academy really gave me, I would say, the platform to do that, surrounded by people who, I mean, especially all of you who gave me that platform. I mean, it was like I was in this, I mean, it's incredible when I think of the learning and how you dial into who you are. It's unlike anything else. As I always say, what the best investment I made in my life, in my career.
Wait a minute. What?
I think you've heard me say this.
Yeah, I know, but you're a lawyer. I mean, it's like you have a
Yeah,
law
I mean,
degree. You're a person of substance and consequence.
yeah. I mean, they're 2 different, they're such different learnings. I mean, the law, I mean, I love the law. I love being a lawyer. I love what you see the world. It really shaped how I see the world in a very different way. And I think right now, especially in this age of AI, I personally believe we are in a renaissance in the legal profession. There's a lot of people that are afraid. There's a lot of fear. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, you saw the, stocks, just dramatically drop because of this. What does this
I
mean?
love the stocks all dropped. It's like, oh shit, AI is gonna get us all. Ah! And then
It's
like a day or two later, it's like AI is the greatest growth engine in history, and the stocks go flying. This is like watching the Chicken Littles is quite entertaining for some of us.
So agree. And so I think right now we're in a renaissance in the legal profession, because when you think about it, everything that's happening requires the understanding the legal considerations, the regulations, what does that mean for place? So when I think of that learning, it really sort of changed how I think about our society and in a different way. But when I think of the Category Design Academy, it was all about shaping who I am, who I want to be, really making me reflect in a way that I had not done before.
So
Well,
then,
and
Nick,
frankly, in a lot of ways, Creator Capitalist is personal category design,
Mhm.
well,
right?
to that point, I'm curious, Nick, is that in your experience? I mean, you are doing personal category design, but you also came in with very specific intentions about your company and the like and stuff.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting that you say that, because just the other day I said to Lydia, I think it was yesterday, that I think my superpower is that, like, I always look at the context and the whole field of an industry. And I hadn't thought about it like that before, because we've been jamming on the problem and what specific problem we solve and how to frame, name, and claim it. And then everything that I was focused on and coming up with was around what's happening in the market, like as a general, like, see the whole field. And we came up with PI Market Siege,